This is Casual Babble. Welcome back to Casual Babble. I'm your host, BC Babbles. Welcome. Now, this is part 2 of our current entrepreneur spotlight, focusing on Alan Lazaros of Next Level University. In this episode, we move from the spark of transformation into the mechanics of mastery. Alan didn't just wake up one day successful. He built systems, rigorously tracked hours, and leaned into his engineering worldview to dissect success into replicable components. He led a podcast network with over 2,000 episodes across over 175 countries, coached thousands of hours, and grown global teams. But he'll tell you none of this was overnight. It took scaling consistency, habit tracking, which he's having me do right now, which I suck at, and a commitment to the long arc. Today, we dive into how Alan reverse engineered success. What does showing up every day really look like? How do you build momentum rather than simply chasing bursts of inspiration? Why do routines matter more than fire drills? If you've ever felt that you're spinning your wheels, doing work that seems valuable but not lasting, this conversation is for you. Alan will unpack the architecture behind high-performing brands and highlight the tools you can apply whether you're an entrepreneur, coach, creator, or professional leader. Let's find the formula and not the hype for steady, sustainable growth. So here is part 2 of our current entrepreneur spotlight of Alan Lazaros on Casual Babble.
Okay, so Joe Rogan started out in comedy, and then he had UFC and Fear Factor. And he's kind of ridden those 3 waves. So Fear Factor, UFC, comedy, show business. And then he was on a podcast with, who was the guy, the Chad from Charlie's Angels?
Chad from Charlie's Angels.
The Chad?
Wasn't he? Oh, I know who you're talking about. I do not know the actor's name, but I got you.
Okay, you know who I'm talking about. Most people, yeah. Was it the Chad? The Chad.
Definitely the Chad.
The Chad was great. It was definitely the Chad. So Joe Rogan was on his podcast when podcasts were brand new 21 years ago.
Right.
And there's a clip of Joe saying, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
And Adam Green or Tom Green?
I'm about to pull it up for you.
Yeah, thank you, brother. So I think his name's Tom Green. Tom Green was like, "Yeah, it's really interesting." And there's a clip of Joe saying, "I love how you don't have to worry about the ads, and I love how you can be unscripted, and you don't have to..." Because television, what Joe's thesis was, is that television is getting ruined by the fact that they have advertisers that don't let them... They basically censor their content, essentially. And so Joe decided to start a podcast. I actually went back and watched the very first episode. It is atrociously bad. It was crazy. Like 2 or 3 hours was just the setup. It was bad. But most people don't go back. They only see him now, right? With, Iron Man on the show,
right.
Robert Downey Jr., that kind of thing. And so if you take UFC, comedy, Fear Factor, and then the podcast, and you see what Joe did, and Joe is now probably in his 60s, you can reverse engineer that whole thing. And then Tony Robbins, he infomercials and live events, and then he became an author, and he did Date with Destiny and Unleash the Power Within, and he did audio programs. And so I've studied his whole career too. So I told Kevin this early on. I said, what if Tony Robbins and Joe Rogan teamed up? Imagine what kind of impact they could have.
Right.
And so, but the point of all this, to answer your original question, is it's kind of both. You have to see where they are now. So Tony's 67. Joe is probably 63 or something like that. Oprah's 71. But I just studied everybody's career, and I said, okay, let's unpack how they did it. They didn't have the tech we have, but they also didn't have the competition we have. Because I looked this up earlier, actually. Let me give you some stats here real quick. And again, it's ChatGPT research, so take it with a grain of salt, obviously.
Hey, I was going to mention that earlier when you mentioned the difference between $1 million and $1 billion, because I've been theorizing about potentially franchising with a co-working company here in Charlotte with a theoretical budget, and all the stuff I discussed doing with inheriting this team and working on their salary, finding new suites and talking about rent and insurance, and I barely moved the needle on that capital that I had. I'm like, shit, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's what you were saying about. And by the way, it is Tom Green.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
But as you were saying,
this is what I sent to. We have a group coaching program called the Next Level Podcast Accelerator, and we did a business session last night. And I just sent this to what's called the Pod Pack. Every group names themselves. Sort of identity, belonging, community driven. And so milestone 3 episodes. So only, according to ChatGPT, only less than 10% of people publish 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 1% get past 20 episodes. And only a small fraction of that make it past 100 episodes. Kevin and I, we have 2,200 episodes. We wanted to know how many people get there. Mm-hmm. And he said, ChatGPT said, and it's not a he, it's a he or a she, far less than 0.1%, extremely rare is what it says. But I sent that table because I wanted our group coaching members to see, listen, and this is what I wrote, I'll give it to you, like the listeners here. I said, PodPack, Kevin and I just researched this and thought we would share. If you're able to stay consistent with your podcast long term, you separate yourself from the pack. PodPack, packing, pun intended. I didn't write any of that. I just realized that now. Yeah, I didn't realize that until now. It's not easy, but it is doable, and work ethic and consistency are entirely in your control. Because I basically started yesterday's business session with, like, work ethic is everything.
But yeah.
Like, if you don't have work ethic, I really can't help you. But if you do have work ethic, there's very little long-term that isn't doable, but you really do have to work. And so anyways, I digress.
No, absolutely. No, I agree with that wholly. I think I still hear so much from people who want to go into podcasting. And I may have mentioned this during the pre-screening, but they still have this assumption that it's just you sit down, you hit a button, you talk, you hit the button again, you're done. No, sweetheart. There is a 3-step process to this. It's not far off from shooting a TV show. There's pre-production, production, post-production. Mm-hmm. And so there's a whole mess of skill sets you need to have prepared before you, unless you have the capital to hire someone else, that's totally different. But for those of us who more or less are bootstrapped, you got to have a bunch of skill sets in the wing to make this work. So I absolutely agree with needing to have the work ethic, because it can be draining, and kind of resonating with Kevin's initial perspective. You know, I used to think I would love to have a show as big as Impulsive, or as big as they were called the Vlog Squad a few years ago. I forgot what I think it's called, not Unscripted. No, I think it's called Unscripted, but you know, but I had to look at what did Logan Paul do when he went into podcasting. Well, first he did what I didn't do. He made it big he used Vine. I didn't look at Vine until after it was over. Mm-hmm. He made it big there, continued on to YouTube, so that by the time he ventured into this lane, he had a massive amount of people who were just ready to move with him.
Yep.
I haven't earned that yet. Yeah. So I have to step back and be like, okay, how do I earn that first?
Nice.
I got to put the boots on the ground and work it. So I am proud to say I'm at episode 54.
Nice.
So I have distinguished myself a little bit.
Yeah, you're already in the top 1%.
I haven't broken those 3 figures yet, but I'm working on it.
Nice. Good for you, man. Good for you. This is 54, this one?
54 just came out yesterday. So today I'll be 55, 56. And then you will be your own set of 3 episodes when you come out. So I might be in the 80s by then. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens.
Okay, cool. Nice. Strong work, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. We went on such an awesome tangent there. Let me try to relocate myself real quick. So one of the big things I'm excited to hopefully get to experience here in the future for myself is hitting this moment in building a business where I realize, oh, I now have so much work to take care of. I now need to get a team, but also have that, hopefully the same moment, have the thought of, oh, I can actually now afford a team.
Nice.
So talk about the moment where you reached that milestone and the prospect of getting to finally bring people into your house and start developing a culture for yourself.
I'll never forget this. Kevin and I were in the studio. We had an in-person. So our first studio was in my sister's old bedroom way back. Then it was in my mother's basement.
I feel that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Then we got our own studio. And that was a big deal. This was right around COVID time. Mm-hmm. And that's when we kind of branched off on our own. And we were in the studio, and this is probably a year into having it or so, and we did what's called a time audit. And we had this huge freaking whiteboard. It's actually still in my basement. And I said, dude, we're going to die if we keep going like this. And what I mean by, I don't mean die in business, because we were doing okay, and our expenses were low because we didn't have a team. Low expenses in the beginning is a superpower. And I want to make it as clear as possible. Kevin and I never took any investors, no strategic partnerships. Like, we bootstrapped the company. So I'm talking make $100, reinvest 80 of it. Make $1,000, reinvest 800 of it. Make $10,000, reinvest $8,000 of it. We're still doing that. Okay? And in the first 2 years, we made $13,000 total. So the first year we made $0. Second year we made $13,000 between two people living in Massachusetts. Not enough. Mm-hmm. And we just last month did our first $100,000 month.
Love it.
So we made more, not last month, because technically it's September now. So in July, we had a $100,000 month. Mm-hmm. We made more in 1 month than we did the entire first 2 years. That is the compound effect of sticking with it and staying and getting better every day. You can't just stick with it. You have to get better every day too. Yeah. But anyways, so my point here is we are in the studio and I say, we're going to die. We don't have any more time. So we do a time audit. There's 168 hours in a week. If you sleep an average of 8 hours a night, which we do recommend,
right,
you have 112 hours left. 168 minus 56, 112. So we have 112 hours, and there was 2 of us. We wrote out everything we do. Audio editing, video editing, fitness, everything we do. I'm talking everything. Eating, everything but sleeping, because we already took that out. The board was full. I wish I still had a picture of it. I probably do. I'm going to have to go find it. And we said we have, I think there was like 8 hours left for like intentional recovery, R&R. Yeah, enjoying life. Yeah. And we said we need a team. We need a team. So he found someone. At the time, it was Upwork or Fiverr. I forget which one. Her name was Ron, R-A-N-N. She is now the director of Next Level Podcast Solutions. We now have an 18-person team, and she runs half the company. But it started out just as a person on Upwork or Fiverr, and we just slowly grew. And it's been brutal. I gotta be real. It's been every day has been just solve this problem. This is a problem. Solve this problem. Innovate this. Try this. So we now work with 113 podcasters and business owners. So you mentioned all the work, unless you have capital. So we actually produce over 70 podcasts, including 4 of my own.
Wow.
Okay, Next Level University, Podcast Growth University, Business Growth University, and something called the Conscious Couples Podcast. And so I get to be a client at my own company, which is really fascinating. I highly recommend that as a CEO, because you basically get to see the experience of the customer or the client, because you are one. And when the team sees you as a client, you get to see from both sides of the table. It's really cool. It's been really fascinating. But anyways, so my point of all this is we realized that we are out of time, and you only have 3 resources in life. You have time, effort, and money. And we had no more time left, so we had to delegate. So the 3D plan is what this is called. Number 1 is delete. So if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, podcaster, you gotta delete stuff. I love basketball. I love snowboarding. I don't get to play basketball or snowboard almost ever. All right, it is what it is. People say, well, what do you mean? You can listen. It depends on the size of your goals. Michael Phelps spent 5 years in the pool, no birthdays, no holidays, every single day for 5 years straight before 2008. All right, he's the most decorated Olympian in history. He has 28 medals, 23 gold. I know it's nuts. I get it. Please don't attack me. I treat myself like an Olympic athlete. Okay? All right. I've gotten so much crap for that, man. It's like ridiculous. Listen, this is my life, my goals. I know it's not like, Alan, you can totally snowboard. No, I can't. I'm not going to risk it. I work every single day. I know that's not your choice. It's all good. Okay, so the point though, time, effort, money. First D is delete. You have to delete stuff that is not profitable and not indirectly profitable. You have to delete things that are not of value. Persons, places, things, and ideas. So Kevin had to give up some stuff. I had to give up some stuff. Number 2 is delegate. Delegate means you find someone who can do what you're currently doing for a lower price point than your time value. So if I coach for the sake of numbers, let's say I coach for $100. It's not that, but let's say I do. And I pay someone else $20. If I can coach for $100 and pay them $20, I'm profiting $80. So that's how you grow a company. Is people think, well, when you're a CEO, you're your own boss. Listen, I have 113 clients. I have 113 bosses. All right. So it's not so people are like, well, I want to start a company so I have more free time. Worst idea of all time.
Yeah, no.
But the delegate piece, you do have to earn more and then delegate and then double down. So the third D is double down. So I delete everything that is not coaching. This is a metaphor, but so just for me personally, my one thing is coaching. For Kevin, it's podcasting. So I delete everything that is not coaching, training, and podcasting. I delegate everything that is not coaching, training, and podcasting. And then I double down on coaching, training, and podcasting. And that's how I have 11,262 hours of coaching, training, and podcasting. And that's all I do. So coaching is 1-to-1, training is 1-to-several, podcasting is 1-to-scale, and they all feed each other. The one-on-one coaching informs what I talk about on the podcast, and the podcast brings listeners to the coaching, and it feeds. And it's just this altruistic and profitable thing. So hopefully that